Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Voices of the Vic podcast with myself, Joe Thomas. And today I'm joined by Caity Kirkley, and we are going to just go over all things Watford from the last few games. Talk about Javi Gracia and his first, what would it be now, Caity? 10 games in charge, I think. 10 games in charge as Watford manager upon his return. If you've got any comments, anything you'd like us to discuss, please put into the comments if you are watching live, or even if it's after. As always, please put all your comments into the chat and we will go over them at some point in the next episode. But first of all, Caity, it's been a while since we've been on. First of all, apologies, everybody. We're just saying before we came on, we've just been a little bit busy lately. And all our paths seem to be kind of crossing one another, and we've not been able to, unfortunately, get on and do a podcast, but we've been itching to get on and do one and get something out for you guys. So we wanted to get one out tonight, just to, like I say, as I said before, just discuss what's been going on at Watford lately and talk a little bit briefly about the game on Monday night against Birmingham. But as I said, Caity, it's been a while. How are you, and how are you feeling about Watford and the direction that they're taking at the moment?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm enjoying football. It's definitely a nice little break from everything that's going on in adult life. It's nice to have time off work to be able to go to the games and stuff. And we're seeing good football. There's definitely a feel around the club again about the players, the fans. There's a bit more connection now than there was 2 months ago. I'm really enjoying the football that we're playing. I'm enjoying the vibe. I'm enjoying most of it, really. And I'm sure we'll dive into the specifics. But yeah, I'm happy with where Watford are. Obviously, we can always do better and stuff. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying Javi being back. Meeting him last week was really, really like starstruck. I was like, hey, like this is kind of crazy. But yeah, he's a really, really decent guy, like really kind, really honest, down to earth. And yeah, it was great to meet him, great to actually have a conversation with him. And he's Javi. We love him. But no, I'm doing good. I'm excited about the rest of the season, going into a festive period with lots of games, lots of football. So yeah, doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, it was nice to go to football on Tuesday. It was my first game for a while. I've really missed the match day buzz and the feel of going to a game. So yeah, it was great to be back on Tuesday. I've got a run of games now where I'll be going to quite a few. So it's really exciting times. And as you said, you went to the at your place thing at the training ground it was at?
Yeah, it was at the training ground.
And obviously Javi was there. I've only myself met him once or twice. No, once before, I think it was. Maybe twice. I can't remember now. But he's just the loveliest, as you said, he's the loveliest person, isn't he? He's just so... What I love about him is he gets it. It reminds me of, I know you probably won't remember, but Zola, when Zola came in at Watford, like Zola got it. Like the fans just took to him instantly. He was just gave that aura. And Gracia, I mean, I don't know if you saw that video as well the other night from when he was sat on the bench singing Elton.
Yeah.
When they were playing. I just loved it. And it's just little things like that when you just see things, it just makes you fall in love with him just a little bit more. And I'm personally, I feel I think those first 6 games he had before the international break, we kind of said, I remember when we spoke on one of the pods we did before the break, that we would be happy with, I think we said something like 8 or 9 points. I think we went low because it was such a tough run of games based on the teams that we had. And obviously we were disappointed with Coventry. We then followed up Middlesbrough with a really good 3-0 victory there, which everyone was kind of surprised of. Thinking back, I think we then drew with Ipswich on that Tuesday night, which was a really good draw. But then we had that disappointing draw, didn't we, against Bristol City at home before the break. But then Derby after the break, it was incredible, wasn't it? I mean, I watched it on the Fire Stick at a friend's house, and I was just utterly gobsmacked. Like, I've seen some results at Watford before, and I've seen us, we've come back from, I don't know, to draw a game, but the buzz and the happiness and the joy that you could see on the players' faces after that game, and just all the fans, it just felt great, didn't it? Just seeing the full-time scenes again like that. We haven't felt that for a long time, have we?
I think as well, the way that I see it is like, it never happens to us. We're never the team that will come back from being 2-0 down. So when it does happen, and especially to score 2 late-ish goals, like, yeah, that doesn't happen regularly to us. As soon as if we go 2-0 down, there's no way I'm thinking, yeah, we're in this. Like, we're still in this. We can get something here. I think the Derby game was a real test of character from the players, and I think Javi said the same in his post-match interview. It just shows like how they dug deep, and maybe we got lucky in some sense, but we never get lucky. We're never lucky. We never get that decision or that whatever or that result. It's never us. It never happens to us. So for us to have it once in a while, to me, like, that is important, because we're like, oh, we actually have something to celebrate these days. But I think, that's down to Javi. Like, it's obvious that the players care. Not that they didn't care before, because I think the only thing when Paolo was here was that the players were caring, but the manager was crazy. And, from the At Our Place thing last week, they were saying, Scott admitted, yeah, we made a mistake. Gino put his hand up and said, I made a mistake with appointing Paolo. That was the wrong choice. And, he said it wasn't what they intended to bring into the club. And they said, yeah, I made a mistake. And it was obvious. The amount of podcasts we used to do on here saying Paolo has to go. Like, it's obvious that he's not getting on with the players. He's inconsistent, and Javi's in, and I feel like the players have turned over a new leaf. I mean, they were trying before, but now they're trying even more, and there's just much more connection between the players actually fighting for the manager and playing for the manager. And I think that's what Javi has brought in the best out of previous managers, is you can tell that he really cares about his players. And we saw him take Vata under his wing straight away. Shame about his injury. He's doing the same with all the other young players. He's helping them, and he's not letting them struggle. He's giving them guidance. And I think that's what you need in a team that is so young. You need someone like Javi with the experience to kind of hold you up and support you. And that's what he's doing. And it's paying off, because we're still playing really good football. I just feel like we're just missing a few things here and there, but it will click at some point. But it's already clicking, because we've had some really good results. We've also had ones where we haven't been clinical enough, and I think with time results will come more consistently. But that is what our biggest struggle is just being consistent.
Yeah, I think that's 4 unbeaten now, isn't it? I think
it's 5 unbeaten now.
Is it 5 unbeaten? Is it
Middlesbrough, Ipswich, Bristol City, Derby, and Preston?
Oh, it is 5. Yeah, so that's 2 wins, 3 draws. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good because we're building momentum. We're becoming that team that's tough to beat. Obviously, we want to turn the draws into wins. But what was most satisfying is, like, we've gone to Derby. They're on a 5-match winning run. We're 2-0 down. At 2-0 down, I'll be honest, I actually thought we were playing okay. I've seen a lot of people sort of come on social media and have called out people. saw there was some comments made towards certain fans over certain comments about, oh yeah, we were absolute crap and stuff. I didn't think we were crap. I think, you know, we were hanging in there a little bit, but we seemed to get a bit of a foothold on the game.
Yeah.
And once we got that goal back, I do think the momentum and the pendulum swung the other way. And I think that Watford kind of, for once, they pounced on it. And we don't usually do that. That's not usually a Watford thing. And I think, as you said, with the togetherness that they're showing under Javi, they clearly love him. I mean, we all love him. I think that things are slowly clicking. And I do believe that these these draws will turn into wins over time. I'm a little bit apprehensive about Monday, I'll be honest. I do think that Birmingham's a tough game. I mean, there's been some games this season where they've scored 3-4 goals at home, so they're capable of scoring a lot. So we've got to go there and play well. However, I do believe we can go there and get something. Obviously, I'd 100% take a point there, especially when you look at what we've got coming up in that run of home games. We've got Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday at home in succession, which at the beginning of the season you'd have gone, well, Norwich would probably be sort of up there lingering outside the playoffs, but as it is, they're second bottom, so they're basically playing the bottom two in the league. And at home, we've got a great home form. I would love nothing more than see Watford get 6 points out of those two home games, but we know what Watford are like and we know what Watford can do. There is also the chance that we'll ball something up at some time. But yeah, obviously, just going back to that Derby game, obviously Kayembe was the match winner. You know, we've dug him out a lot on this podcast at times and said some bad things, but I mean, he was phenomenal, wasn't he? And you know what? It was great actually to see that he was still that good after 90 minutes. Usually he tires and you can see that he gets tired, but he was still going towards the end of the game. And I was really, really pleased for him because I do like him. I know we've obviously said some harsh things at times, but he's a great squad player, isn't he? And he's a great player to have in and around the squad.
I think on his day, he can genuinely be so good. I mean, I remember there are some real standout games from Edo in the past, like last season, where he's been a real key player. And, you know, he can score screamers. He can, you know, his penalty was excellent. It was a proper Deeney penalty. And, you know, his header, yeah, right place, right time. But, you know, he scored. It doesn't, you know, someone else could have just absolutely headed it the other direction. Like, you never know. And, you know, he deserves 100%. He deserves credit for that game and those goals. And rightly so. His teammates were celebrating him, singing his praise. Like, he deserves that. However, for me, he is not consistently performing at that level, because take a look at the game on Tuesday against Preston. I thought he was terrible. And I do think that it is about how he views or what his role is in the squad. Like, sometimes when he's playing super further forward and attacking, I think he can play quite well there. But on Tuesday, every time we got the ball, it was backward pass, slow the game down. So negative football. I was like, every time we got the ball, I just thought he's going to kick it back to the keeper or back. You know, he's not looking forward. And I don't know if that is Javi saying, look, that's your role to control a bit more. But for me, you know, credit to him for the goals on last weekend. But Tuesday, he didn't have a good game. And that isn't even me just saying it because we give him stick. We give him stick because I do think he's just very inconsistent. But like you said, on his day, he can be great. And I do think that's why he's a bit of a Sissoko kind of player for me. You know, I know Sissoko gets a lot of stick and a lot of it is rightly so. But again, on his day, he's a really good person to have in and around the squad. You can stick him on for 15 minutes at the end of a game and he will do a job for you. And we've seen that. That's kind of how Javi's been using him a little bit less now because he's not really playing. But there has been games where I've thought, yes, Sissoko can come on and put in a shift for 20 minutes. And I think Edo is that person. It's good to have as a bench player put on for our, the last 20 minutes or so. And like you said, on Saturday, he did the full 90 and he did really, really well. But on Tuesday, I think he struggled. But, it's different games and, he'll have had confidence brewing from the penalty and stuff. And I want our players to do well. And yeah, rightly so. You've scored 2 games. You're not going to be dropped. You should be rewarded. You did well. But for me, he's not in my starting 11 because I just think you're not consistently performing at the level that you can do, which we know you can do because we've seen it in this many instances.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I as good as he can be on occasion, he's not consistent with it. But I mean, credit where credit's due as well. As poor as he may have been on Tuesday, and he wasn't as good as what he was at Derby. It was a fantastic takedown for the start of the move for the goal, which led to the goal on Tuesday. He obviously brought the ball down and threaded the ball through, and I don't know whether he'll continue to start, if I'm being honest. I do think there are better players within the squad, but look, if he's taking penalties like that and he's getting his head on corners like he did the other day, then he'll continue to start for as long as Javi feels he's going to be good within the side. But it's interesting, Jess. Thanks for all your comments. I've obviously put a few of them up, but this one, the one I don't rate is our number 9. That's really interesting, this one. Obviously, he scored that fantastic goal at Derby at the weekend, and it was a really good finish from Ngaki's ball across. But a similar sort of position, but the other side of the goal, and with his other foot on Tuesday, he had an open goal, and the ball come to him after hitting the post, and I thought, yes, and I think he hit the camera towards the back of the Vicarage Road stand, didn't he? It was absolutely appalling. It was a horrific miss, and I'm sure he doesn't want to watch it again. But he's just chalk and cheese, isn't he, at the moment? Like, he just, like, one game we're getting a really good Kurumgard, and then the next game we're getting a really poor Kurumgard, and he's just not consistent with what he's doing at the moment, is he? And it's becoming really frustrating. And I do wonder whether, when we've got, obviously it's working at the moment because you can see, like, obviously Georgie's now come back into the mix. Mama's getting regular. Well, he started 2 games in a row, although he did look absolutely knackered after about 55, 60 minutes the other night. Obviously, Barr's out injured at the moment. Vata's out injured at the moment. We've got injuries on those wide positions. So I do wonder, while we've got those injuries, that obviously Javi's playing Doumbia out wide, isn't he? And not in that central role. But I do think that if Kurumgard doesn't really do anything by the time those players are all back and fit, which will probably be towards the end of February, providing everybody stays fit at that point, whether Doumbia will be the man that goes then central and Kurumgard comes out of the team, or whether they just maybe look to get another striker full stop in January. Because I don't know, there's just something about, as much as I want to try and back Luca, he's just doing things that puzzle me at times. And I just wonder whether he's the right man to be our number 9 moving forward.
Again, I agree completely with what you're saying. For me, I think that, again, it's the inconsistency with him. I think there are some movements and some positioning that is so lovely and really, really great. And, he has scored some good goals for us. However, I think on Tuesday, I'm watching him all game. I'm thinking, Are you going to run? Are you going to do anything? Are you going to cut in? Are you going to fix your feet? Are you going to... Every time he gets the ball in a kind of pressure area, like if he ever has to cross the ball, if he ever has to pass the ball into the box or to somebody else, all the time he's like turning on himself or losing the ball. You know, there isn't that instinct straight away to just shoot. You know, he's turning this, he's holding the ball for, you know, that 2 seconds too long than he needs to. And that is frustrating because I think, yeah, you're a striker that can be in the right place at the right time. And I'm not going to compare him to Rajovic because I think that that's unfair. However, he needs the cross served on a plate for him to score it. And he can score from difficult. Like the goal against Derby was incredible. It was insane. But he does need those crosses to be flying in here, there. If he's trying to hold the ball up himself, he can't do that. And, you know, I think that comes with practice and service. You know, when you watch Doumbia play up front, this guy is like sprinting, pressure on everyone. He's running around. And I don't have that. I don't see that energy from Luca. And that's not, you know, it's not bad. But you are relying on the other players to kind of do the hard work for you, and you're there to score the tap-ins. And I'm not saying that he only scores tap-ins because he doesn't, but there are a lot of moments where I'm thinking, you know, like the open goal on Tuesday, yeah, it's okay because it's one of those things, but you should be scoring that. You know, you're the striker. That's kind of, if you're going to be a kind of Troy Deeney poacher, standing goal hanging, you know, you should be scoring those kind of goals. And I think he has scored some great goals for us this season, and I wouldn't take him out. But I think right now with the formation that Javi is playing, and I really think Javi needs to start looking at doing, like, you know, changing the 4-4-2, because it's just like, I just don't think it's really working at the moment. And with Bar out, Vata out, you need Luca's relying on balls flying in left, right, and centre. And when we try and walk it into the goal, which I think is what we were doing a lot on Tuesday, like trying to walk the ball into the box, I think Preston defended really, really well against us. I was talking to my dad and he said, like, on paper, I think we had like 24 shots, like only 5 on target, but we had 24 shots. You know, that's not bad. But they defended really, really well because half the time we weren't capitalizing on our strengths. We were passing the ball around, slowing everything down, holding the ball for, you know, 1 second longer than we needed to. And Preston defended us well. You know, when you got someone like Luca, there was a lot of times when he's the target man. You've got the keeper sending long balls. He doesn't even jump for them half the time. And that is frustrating with me because I'm like, look, you're jogging, you're not really jumping for balls, you're doing this, like, it's not enough for me. You know, when I watch Doumbia, this guy is like a machine. And since he's kind of worked his way back into the team, he's been incredible on a different level of what he was when he first started this season under Paulo. You know, you see him running, chasing balls, intercepting stuff, jumping, this. I'm not saying he's perfect because he still makes mistakes. But that's the type of energy that I would rather see from a striker who's playing up front. And I think that maybe Luca expects Mama to do the running around and then he's there to kind of help. But it's kind of just thinking like, no, just run around a bit more. You know, you're too predictable for defenders.
Yeah, he does need to add something to his game. And like you say, I've been really impressed with Doumbia since he's come back into the team. I think he's a person that I do want to see on the team, on the starting 11 team sheet moving forward. Another person that I've been really impressed with is Nathan Baxter. He made a really, really good save at the start of the second half on Tuesday. Also made a really good save against Derby from a free kick as well, which he would have seen late. Bit of a question mark over the first Derby goal. I think it was hit hard and down his throat. I don't think I can have too many complaints. But I think it's really nice. I don't know if you saw the players. They kind of all went round and sort of congratulated him. I think he, I can't remember what it was that he did at Derby, but it wasn't quite the end of the game, and the players all went round him and just kind of just all was like, well done, and give him a big pat on the back. And it was really nice to see that, because obviously he's not started too many games for us, and I think that from what I've seen that he's competent enough and he's good enough to be Selvic's number 2. I do think that when Selvik is fit, especially leading into the World Cup next year, because he is going to go to the World Cup, Selvic's going to be a starter. But yeah, I don't know about you, but I really like Baxter, and I really like his energy and like what he brings to the team.
Yeah, I agree. And even when Baxter came in, when was the other time when Selvik was injured or something? When Selvik had a concussion and he missed a few games and Baxter came back in, and I thought Baxter did really well even then, and I almost thought, actually, Baxter's not done enough to lose this spot, and I agree. I think next, if Selvik becomes fit again I'm not sure how long he's out for, maybe after Christmas.
I'm sure they said he was going to be out for a month when they said that he was out.
So for me, I'm thinking, actually, I'm not going to rush Selvik back because you've got Baxter. And, I'm sure he's loving it. I'm sure he's loving getting the chance to play. He obviously cares a lot. And every time he's needed to be called upon, he's done really, really well. So long may it continue. And I hope that, obviously, I think Selvik does a solid job, but I also think that we were starting to see Selvik slip up more and become a bit, some of those free kicks that he used to concede, and it's just giving it's giving Backman. So, I think it'll be good for Baxter to have a run of games. But yeah, I definitely, as soon as Selvik's fit, you're not instantly coming back unless Baxter makes a, bad mistake. But yeah, for me, I think he definitely deserves praise. He's done really, really well. He gives me, when normally you would have the reserve goalie come in and you think, Jesus Christ, who is this? They're going to be a flop.
Yeah.
I really feel confident when he's in goal. So yeah, props to him. He's doing really, really well.
Just while you mention, I don't usually like to swear on the podcast, but while you mention a certain someone, Daniel Backman, I don't know if you heard, there was quite a few people talking about Daniel Backman on Tuesday night, because it has been mentioned. I don't know how true this is, and I don't know how far down the line it is, if it is actually going to happen, but they were concerned that apparently Selvik might be out slightly longer, and Backman isn't playing at Deportivo. He's sitting on the bench, and I heard that they were looking to potentially bring him back to sit on our bench rather than Deportivo's bench.
Funny joke.
Do you know what? I don't even have words for it. It's kind of like one of those. It's 100% a Watford FC thing, isn't it? That, and I just think it would just be hilarious if, I don't know, if we rock up to Norwich next week and Daniel Backman's on the bench. I'd just be like, nah, it's got to be a dream. I thought his time at Watford was done and we would never see him again. But
I think
I've seen stranger things.
I think they say that it's in the cards because maybe if Selvik is out, you don't have a reserve goalie. It's probably just a precautionary thing. And I swear Backman is injured, so he's been at the club. I heard that was why he's but not playing for that team. He's been injured, so people were saying that he is actually at the training, been in and around the training ground because he's injured or whatever. So it's probably a precautionary thing. I doubt it will actually happen. And I'd rather see the third choice goalie.
Marriott, isn't it?
Marriott. bring him in. He's better than Backman. I'd rather
Yeah,
much rather have him in.
yeah, yeah.
Backman.
Who knows? Like I say, it would be a typical Watford thing. That
Yeah,
just briefly, just mention a couple of people. One being Imran Loser. Obviously, he's been fantastic, isn't he? We've relied on his goals so much, especially since Javi's come in. He's been getting a lot. He's getting forward a lot, isn't he? He's been in those forward areas a lot more. Obviously, we've seen that through the goals, and you can see, he's even from Tuesday, got to dig him out a little bit. I'll be honest. I actually think Tuesday was his worst game of the season.
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I don't know whether that was just because he's maybe been a little bit tired, and he's obviously had a lot of games. But he is Mr. Reliable. We can rely on him for so much.
I think that's why when he has a slightly worse game, it stands out more because we expect almost perfection from him. That when
Yeah,
he's making mistakes, I didn't know you could even make a mistake.
yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah,
more for me on Tuesday. It was his decision making. There was a lot of him and Mama are really really good friends, and there was a lot of times where he was passing to him, and I was thinking like that is not the easy pass. Like the easy pass is to I don't know someone else, and he looks up. His first thought is Mama. Like you
yeah,
know, and that isn't a bad thing necessarily. And I'm sure I'm probably just reading into it too much. However, there was a lack of decision making from Loser and just losing the ball in key areas. And normally we're so used to the ball sticking to his feet like glue that when he loses the ball, I was like, oh, like I forgot that even happens to you. But
yeah.
he's played almost every game. He's of course
Exactly.
gonna be knackered. Of course, the carrying the team is going to catch up on him. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't even be shocked if we see him rested on Monday
Yeah,
night. You
yeah.
know,
Potentially, yeah. I think with those two games coming up, possibly. You know what he's like, though. I can see him being like, "No, I'm starting." Um, but yeah, a bit of appreciation for Matty Pollock as well. He's been excellent. I think, like the last maybe 3-4 games, he's been a real warrior. I just, every game, I just love how vocal he is. Like we need someone that talks at the back, and he's just constantly shouting at people, and like wanting people to do better. And that's one thing I really love about him. Really, really love about him. Um, the two fullbacks as well. Really impressed with Bola and Ngakia. I think they're, for me, Wiley's going to have a. I know I really can't understand what's going on there. If he's not, if he was never going to be fit till Christmas, I don't know why, or January, why we got him in the summer. It seems ridiculous. Um, but yeah, those two, Bola and Agaki, are great, aren't they? I think they're
yeah,
two starters.
yeah. Bola, I've been so impressed with him. Like, I think Ngakia, again, I've been incredibly impressed with him. But for me, Bola, like, when we signed him in the summer, I expected him to be a bit of like a, you know, squad player, bench. Now I'm like, he's a solid foundation of this team. He's been excellent. I do
Yeah,
think he struggled on Tuesday. I think, that was, I wouldn't say his worst game, but I think he was just very, very quiet on that side. Not a lot, but he's immense. He's insane. He's really, really good. And Ngakia as well. This is the first time where we've really seen Ngakia be able to play and be fit and actually play to his true potential.
yeah,
I still think there's a lot of things that they're trying to do. Like, I think one thing for me recently is we try to make things way too complicated and we're trying to do complicated things. And the league isn't that good. The teams we're playing against are not that good. We have to play with the confidence that we are a good side because we are. And a lot of the time we give the teams that we're playing too much wiggle room to do what they want to do first. When people come to Vicarage Road, they should be terrified. We should go out from the get-go and be punchy, you know? but sometimes we give them too much grace. We're like, yeah, we'll see what they do and this. And there was a lot of people trying to do like back heel passes and flipping over here, or just no one was looking for the easy pass. And I know that comes from just like, trying to create flair and this, but I was just thinking like, we're not winning the game. We haven't won the game yet. Like, you can do that afterwards, but for now, let's just focus on winning the game. And you win the game by being the better side, not by experimenting with how you're going to pass the ball.
Yeah, just the club have just posted something. Just mentioned Mum as a different class. Javi's just been talking about him, and he's just saying how he's looking more experienced, and when we need a little bit more in games, he's giving that what we've been missing, So yeah, it looks like Javi's a big fan, and he looks like someone who's probably going to be starting regularly for Watford. One person I do just want to sort of finally talk about. In fact, no, I'm going to just mention the goal. You mentioned obviously about Watford giving teams a bit of grace. I mean, it really showed with that goal against Preston on Tuesday, the space that Jefferson was given. As soon as he picked it up, I was like, oh, he's going to score. And it was the most painful thing I've watched at Vicarage Road for a long time. Like, Mike joked on his story on Instagram saying, we're going to lose 1-0 and Jefferson will be the person that scores. And when he scored, I was like, oh my days. Like,
it was written in the stars. Like, you knew that he would. And I'm not going to say that the players let him score, but, anyone would think Jefferson's going to be up for it. He's going to try his very best to get a goal, and to give him that much room and to let that happen. Like, he's clearly improved a lot since he was here, but he's not going to miss from that.
Well, no, he's still crap. I mean, that's
not as crap.
Just not as crap. Yeah. But yeah, just finishing up with the return of Georgie. I mean, it was great to see him get back on the pitch at the weekend. It was great to see him get a standing ovation coming on. And it was great to see him. I would say he was back to his old self. Like, it didn't really take him long to get involved, did it? Like, I was expecting him to be a little bit hesitant, but he was chasing loose balls down. He was putting tackles in, and he was back to. He literally was the Georgie that we know and love, and I was really, really pleased to see that.
Me too. I was really pleased when he came on, and he actually, I mean, I can't remember what minute he came on, but he had 10 minutes at least. And, sometimes when players come back from long-term injuries, there is that worry of re-injury, or you're skeptical in this. And, I really hope that we still don't rush him from now, still give him time to, get up to speed. The last thing we need is him doing anything, touch wood, to himself again. But I thought he was brilliant when he came on. I really, really was impressed. He was, like you said, chasing loose balls, driving forward. He was there. He was in. He was ready. He was ready to go.
Yeah, he was. And it'd be interesting because, like I say, I think he's a bit too soon for a start on Monday.
He could get longer. I think he could get.
Yeah, I think he could play maybe 30 to 45 minutes, maybe.
Like come in like the 60th minute, maybe.
Yeah.
Especially if we see Loser being rested, maybe, or Loser coming off in like 60th minute, you could see a Loser Georgie swap, maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And just finishing up, what do you think on Monday? Score prediction?
Like you said, I'd be happy with a point. I think 1-1, I'd be happy, but I honestly think we're going to win 2-1.
Do you?
Like, I have confidence.
Oh, I don't know. I'd take it. 100%. If someone offered me 1-1 now, I'd be like, yeah, see you later. I'm going back down the M1, M6, M1 happy. But I personally, I'm actually going to go for a narrow 3-2 defeat. I think it's going to be a really tight game, and I
didn't realise that Birmingham were 9th.
Yeah, they're doing, like I say, they're really good at home. They're really strong. they do have that odd silly defeat in them at home though. Like they have lost some silly games at home. I think maybe 2 games at home.
They've lost to Sheffield Wednesday and
I think they lost to Hull at home as well. I think
they did.
Ipswich was opening day. They conceded in the 95th minute for that penalty. So
I think for me, it's just like if we go and play our best football, there's no reason that we can't win. And we'll have had time to rest from Tuesday, extra time. I think if we play our best and we start on the front foot from the get-go, there's no reason why we can't do it.
No. And Steve's made a really good point there with that comment. We've got a really great squad. There is no reason why we can't hit the top 6.
Yeah.
And it would be great with these run of home games. Well, these run of games in general, Birmingham, Norwich, Sheffield Wednesday, Wrexham, Stoke, leading up to Christmas. There's 5 games.
Should all be wins.
There's 5 games there where I believe we could get 11 or 12 points there, I think.
Yeah. I think Stoke is one that I would and about. The other ones, but at this point as well, going into Christmas and wanting to achieve promotion top 6, it's non-negotiable. You should be beating Norwich. You should be beating not draws, especially at home. We got to knock these home draws out of the system quickly because, our away form is not consistently good enough. We only just won away recently. I don't think that's going to continue.
Don't forget Bristol City and Preston were both top 6 teams as well. Like going into those games, Bristol City, I think, was 6th when we played them, and Preston were 5th the other night when we played them. So
I'm not disappointed with a draw. I mean, in after the game, I was disappointed because we should have won. But every time we're drawing against these top 6 sides or whoever, we're like, we should have won. Yeah. If we come out after Norwich and we're like, we should have won, like, Norwich, you should be beating them. They are dreadful.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Well, we'll be back, everybody. Well, first of all, thank you everybody for your comments in the comment section this evening. It's been great having you all tune in. For those that are new or haven't subscribed, please do hit that subscribe and like button. You'll get notifications, as I say, when we go live. I'll look to get something out, hopefully, with either Katie or Ben next week regarding the Birmingham game, which is on Monday night. But yeah, thanks ever so much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and come on, you Horns.